See? Good picture. All right. And then... Interesting. All right. Do you want to... All right, well, we're just going to go with this. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Hard Work, Bad Decisions. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's talk about it. Today, I got a special guest. I'm really excited about this because this special guest is my business partner, my partner in crime, my ace boon coon, Carlos Ibarra, a.k.a. Mr. Hustle. Say what's up to the crowd.
What up, what up?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. First and foremost, people know us because we work in the gym together and we run this gym. You run the boxing side, I run the MMA side, and you've been my boxing coach for a very long time, man.
Yeah, going on 5 years?
Yeah. No, man, before that, because 5 years was 2013. I think we started training like 2011 back in
Yeah. So we're going on 7.
Yeah, 7 years as working together. Back then it was we was kind of still partners with Altitude, but you were still my boxing coach.
Yeah, it was. You were doing your thing and I was doing my thing, and
somebody getting. Well,
and the paint's flying everywhere, so if you don't want your car to be painted on, you gotta move your car.
Gotta move my car? What the? Huh?
The paint next door?
Yeah. Hey, move the car for me. That's crazy. Yeah, that's what happens when you try to do a podcast in the gym.
Yeah. So, when we're at Altitude, it was kind of you always had your team. And I was working at other gyms, and that was the situation. Where I was working at other gyms, you always had your team, your individual team, going to different gyms and bringing your team. You know what I mean? So basically, I was training your guys working for another gym. And that everybody knows how that ended.
Yeah. Altitude didn't last too long, and we actually left Altitude, and I went back to just doing Victory, and you kind of just went on your own.
Yeah, I kind of traveled around. I was kind of like a nomad, finding gyms, and trying to build my program. But unless you're doing your own thing, it's really hard working at somebody else's gym. It's one of the most difficult things trying to build a program, building somebody else's dream. And we finally got the opportunity to do it ourselves, and
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How do you and I link back up after the whole debacle of Altitude MMA, and we totally separated? It was a point in time me and you wasn't even talking.
Yeah, it was a little bit of time because we had to pick sides, and I was in a situation, where I was in a difficult situation. Yeah, and it's no secret. I put my past. My past is what made me, and I was in some trouble. I was living in a halfway house at the time. I was going to the gym. I was basically at the disposal of my employment. Yeah. So they basically used that against me, and I kind of had to play the game. Once I got out of the situation I was in, I was kind of free to do what I did, and I reached out to you, we linked back up, and we started working with you. Yes.
So basically, what happened was you had some legal trouble.
Yeah.
You made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And because of that, you had to take whatever was given to you.
Yeah.
When somebody offered you a job, although it wasn't what you wanted to do, you had to take it.
Well, I was blessed, to be able to be still in the line of work, being able to work at the gym.
Yeah.
It was
doing
just boxing, doing what I love. I was still being afforded that opportunity, but the situation I was in wasn't the best, and situations I was in after that wasn't the best.
Yeah, because you went from Altitude MMA and then you linked up with FitQuest, and almost the same thing happened.
Actually, I left Altitude, and then actually with this location before it was FitQuest, where we're at right now, it was called Adrenaline.
Yeah,
and they actually hired me, private contractor, to run the program. They paid me a salary, but the owners, it wasn't being ran well, and the situations weren't being things weren't being done the right way. Mm-hmm. What I know now to be the right way, I didn't know back then what was going on, but it wasn't being run well, and it was sold to somebody else, and changing owners and stuff like that. So I took off from that situation. I actually left there, and kind of gave up on the gym industry and just went work construction, worked odd jobs, and tried to do it. And
I remember that because then you would me and you would link up, and I would just pay you almost like a personal trainer, and I'll kick you some cash.
Yeah, I would come over and train the whole team, do a team
Yeah,
workout, come over.
yeah.
But I was coming straight from the construction side a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, and you know,
How'd you like that, man? Working in construction.
Listen, that inspired me. The work was so hard and so, man, it was hard. You know, I was in the Army, you know,
Yeah.
and you do some hard labor, but that was ridiculous. I was doing steel work. And it was silly, stupid hard that I said, if I'm going to work this hard at anything, I'm going to work this hard at the gym industry. And I'm going to work this hard at boxing. And that kind of inspired me to get back into it because I didn't walk. I ran back to the gym after that.
I remember for a long time you was on your bike, you know, back at Altitude MMA. Yeah. You went through the grind, bro.
I was humbled, man. It'll humble you to go from, you know, living at home and think you got your stuff together to you on a bike, man. You know, at 6 a.m. on the bike.
Just one bad mistake, you know, and everything can change. So things started to turn around a little bit because you got with FitQuest and that didn't pan out. Yeah. But what did happen, it linked us back up.
Yeah,
you know, in a more official way.
Yeah. What happened was, you know, FitQuest wanted to start a combat sports program, and you know, Jamal was he was big in the local scene, and you know, had an MMA team. Dude was trying to, you know, supplement income up here and just trying different things. Bring Jamal in, link up, you know. We brought him in here, but still, we were in a situation where I was working for FitQuest, and Gilbert, he was working for Victory MMA. So there was just, you know, discrepancies. I really could, I really couldn't. You know, it was just stressful time until finally, we got some little inside info. You know, made a couple moves, and then next thing you know,
what happened was, I mean, let's always got some technical difficulties, something going on. I'm gonna get this thing straight one day, but So basically what happened was we heard that FitQuest was having some financial difficulties on running this place. Yeah. So you came to me with also a private investor, and you came to me and said, hey, man, I got this guy who could chip in with your name, my work ethic, you know, with this extra little cash on the side. We could buy this place out. Yeah. You know, it wasn't required for us to all come together as a team and make it happen.
It was less of that and more of, hey, this place is going down. If I need to, we need to make a move.
Okay,
you
true
know,
that.
It was going to go down. Like it was, you know, checks were bouncing, things were going bad, and I knew
every time he paid you, you know, and we all know exactly who we're talking about, but every time he paid you, you know, checks were bouncing. He'd be like cashing on the 15 come around. The 16.
Yeah,
you know,
things were going bad, so we had to make a move. We made the move, and it was probably one of the best moves we could have made.
Now, and that happened officially. We took over officially January of 2016. So now we're going 2 years strong. 2 years, into now we don't have no owner. Nobody can tell us what we can and can't do. We just make it happen. We just train people and try to make people successful.
Basically, we took two guys that had two winning ideas. You know, one on the boxing end and one on the MMA end, and we combined that. And in Colorado, it's a combat sports city. You know, state. Yeah. And you gotta have both. Yeah. There's no boxing gym that's being successful that just does boxing by itself. There's no MMA gym that just does MMA by itself. Typically, you kind of have to have both. There are those rare occurrences that.
But the thing about us is so different, I believe. You know, and I'm gonna go and pat ourselves on the back because we different than most gyms. We are professional fighters. We've been to the top. You boxed for the Army for 4 years. You was a 3-time national champion. Got out, went pro with a record of 10-4. I went to the UFC. I fought in Bellator. I was a world champion. We actually been to the top. We tasted it. We've been around a lot of coaches around the world. Me and you together travel the country, fighting all different places. So when people come here and train with us, they get real experience and real knowledge from real experience.
Well, here's the kicker. When you come to our gym,
Victory MMA House of Hard Boxing,
it's either going to be Gilbert training you or it's going to be me training you. You go to some gyms and they got the head coach and they got all these people that train there, but you never know who's going to train you. Yeah. You know, they got volunteers, they got assistants, they got students, they got this. If you come here and you come for boxing, I'm going to train you, whether it be your little kid, whether it be the housewife, whether it be the professional fighter, whether it be amateur boxing,
soccer dad,
anybody, I'm going to train them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the guarantee that comes here. Gilbert as well. If you're going to come to any of his classes, you know, and he has more of a wide array of classes, which means He has kickboxing, he has jiu-jitsu, he has gi, he has no gi, he has grappling, he has all those things, but he's going to teach him because he's proficient in all those things.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's our story a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually kept out some of the more ugly details.
Well, the ugly detail is we're in a marriage, man. Basically, I'm married to this dude. In business.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be this thing, there's gonna be stuff that's going on, but we'll just leave that out.
Okay. But let's talk about you and your upbringing.
Yeah.
Can you tell me maybe a couple of fighters or coaches that actually inspire you to do this sport? Like, what inspires you?
Well, ever since I was little, 6 years old, 7 years old, watching Rocky movies,
And you was a fat kid too, right?
I was a fat little kid.
You was a fat kid.
I was a fat kid. I still am. But I put on a little bit of muscle. But
Yeah.
I was a fat kid. But believe it or not, before I even wanted to be a fighter, I wanted to be a trainer. Since I was a little kid, my ultimate goal, I always dreamed of being a trainer and training these fighters. And so it's kind of like my whole life I've been working for this, and ever since, 6 years old, they put me in martial arts and karate, taekwondo, that type of stuff. As soon as I learned a little bit, I was able to teach it. I've always had the knack for teaching.
Well, somebody once said that, and excuse me if I'm messing this quote up, but they once said the problem with boxing is just when you learn how to do it, you're too old to do it.
Yeah, basically.
Well,
when I started boxing, I was at my first amateur fight. I was 22 years old. They told me I was too old. I said, man, you're crazy. I couldn't nobody tell me anything. I mean, I went a long way, but I was old when I was 22 years old because right now I'm 39 and I'm barely starting to figure it out. Like, I know things that people were trying to tell me. I look back on some of the fights that I have and like, oh my God, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? It seems like I didn't have any direction, but I was just learning stuff that I should have learned as an amateur in a young age, as a professional or as an elite amateur, in the Army. I was learning on the job.
So tell me a fighter that actually inspired you, man.
Man.
And make it a black fighter.
James Toney.
James Toney.
James Toney, he does it for the fat boys.
Yeah.
Because that guy can straight fight. He's a dog. When he was younger, he was in shape. But even when he was in his older age, he still had the skill and the punch and just the overall intestinal fortitude. Man, he was banging at a heavyweight. And he turned pro at middleweight.
Oh yeah.
He was a middleweight, and in his old age, he was still scrapping with these big heavyweights, man. So James Toney, he inspires me a lot. He's a big trash talker. I'm not a big trash talker, but yeah, man, James Toney, Chavez. When I was growing up, I watched him.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think if you're a Mexican fighter, you have to have him in your top three, top two. I mean, he's just a legend.
Julio Cesar Chavez is more of an inspirational thing as far as the story goes and where he came from and his, the hard work and just being a Mexican hero. I grew up watching boxing with my grandfather, and he was a boxing fan, and they were all about Chavez. And then De La Hoya, when he was coming up, it was like, oh, he's a new Mexican kid in town. Just supporting Mexican fighters. But yeah, skill wise,
I mean, what makes Mexican fighters special?
They're hungry. They're hungry, man. And you look at the top countries are usually hungry countries.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not hungry and your back isn't up against the wall, typically you're not going to fight to the death.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these Mexican fighters, they're fighting to eat, literally.
Yeah.
They're fighting to put food on the table, not just to have a little bit of extra money on the weekend or even to pay their rent. They're fighting to go home and feed their babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that
would make you push to the limits.
Man.
You give everything you have, man. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, that and hard heads, hard heads and just the...
Yeah, because Mexicans are known to take damage.
Hard heads, man. Hard heads. I mean,
if you fight a Mexican, attack the body. Attack the body.
Yeah. And just the culture, because it's a poor man's sport, and you need minimal gear. You need a pair of gloves, basically. And boxing gyms they're in poor countries. They're all over the place. Cuba, one of the best countries in the world for boxing, is a poor country. Mm-hmm. But from little kids, instead of going to kindergarten, they put them in boxing camps, and they go to school, and they train, and they go to school some more, and they train. So from little kids, they're being ingrained with boxing. Mexican fighters as well. They don't have camps like that, but dads, everybody's dad wants them to be a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, Mexico is just a fighting country, man, and that's why so many strong fighters come out of Mexico. Yeah. I particularly hate sparring with Mexicans. I just feel like I mean, they tie the hell out of me. Okay, so let's move on now. Now tell me, how does boxing influence your life a better? How did it change your life? Just the sport of boxing.
Well, there's a saying, says, boxing saved my life. You know, boxing has literally saved my life repeatedly. When I was in the Army, I went and tried out for the team. I couldn't predict the future. I didn't know, September 11th was going to happen and all that stuff. But I started training in 2000, and I was like, this is going to be my mission. And I worked hard at it, and I busted my tail every day in the gym. And, other than, I'd go to work and then still go do that.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
So you was in the Army.
I was in the Army. Yeah.
You joined the Army.
Just to be in the Army.
Just to be in the
to
Army.
have a job. Yeah.
I mean, just to have a job
Just
because
to
you
have
had a kid,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you was like, well, I'm gonna step up, being man. I'm gonna take care of my kid. I'm gonna join the Army so I get some benefits and get some money.
I did that, and
But then you joined the Army to become what?
a mechanic.
A mechanic.
A mechanic.
And tell me about that. How'd you go from being a mechanic to boxing for the Army for the WCAP program?
Okay, it's funny. No, it's not a funny story. It's just this is what happened. I had trained. I'd done kickboxing in the past, and I'd sparred before. I never competed. But I sparred with some grown-ups, 14, 15 years old. I had the basics of fighting, and I always had fight in me. I always wanted to be a fighter, martial arts and everything. I joined the Army just to be in the Army because I needed a job. I had a baby, so family, and I that's what I needed to do. But what they got me with is the job title that sounded fancy. Power generation equipment repair.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
Which is a fancy word for a generator mechanic.
Yeah.
Which is a fancy term for being in the motor pool. So
yeah.
I'm not a mechanic. To this day, I'm not a mechanic. I have a hard time changing tires. And
when I partnered up with you, bro, I was like, I got this Mexican. I mean, you're a great boxing coach, but I was thinking, man, you could help with, creating, I don't know, just being around the gym and fixing things.
I'm not MacGyver with the duct tape.
You can't fix a damn thing.
No.
Like, you worse than me. And I was like...
Could you imagine me in the motor pool?
Yeah,
hey, we're not going home till stuff is fixed. So I had anxiety, man. I hated work. I hated Mondays. I hated waking up every day and going to work. And I said, man, there's got to be a better way. And I got some bad habits when I was in the Army. You're in the Army, you're young, you drink till you throw up. You drink to see, how much you can drink and not die. Basically, what I was doing when I was in the Army.
Yeah.
And I was going to the Class 6. I was going to get beer.
Uh-huh.
And I was one of my buddies, and there was a sign. There was a flyer for a Fort Campbell boxing smoker. And I said, man, I'm going to do that. And all it took for the dude to laugh, all it takes is somebody to tell me you can't do it. And I'm going to be like, man, I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you ain't going to do that. So I went, and I said, oh, you know what? I dug out my gear, my old boxing gear, my 16-ounce gloves, and my cup, and my mouthpiece. And I dug it out, and I started training on my own. I didn't tell anybody, and I went and entered this tournament on my own. And when they asked me how many fights you had, what division are you registering for, and they had open, they had sub-novice, and they had novice. I had 0 fights. I entered at novice. I was heavyweight, but I knew how to fight. And I came out there, and the bell rang. They matched me up with some big kid, and I came out there and I threw a feint, and I threw a right hand and knocked the kid out.
They were like, knocked him out right there. Boom.
They were like,
the one hit a quitter.
They were like, whoa. This kid ain't novice. I'm like, you asked me if I fought before. I said no. I've never fought before. So based off of that fight, there was meeting of the coaches. People. At that time, I didn't know that was a very low level boxing match. I had no idea what I was in.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, you need to go try for the Army. You can box the Olympics. I was like, what? Why? I still didn't know about the boxing team.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, look, there's a coach that's here on leave. Not on leave. They had, the WCAP releases the athletes. The World Class Athlete Program releases the athletes after 4 years, after every Olympic year, to go to a unit, and then they come back. One of the coaches, George Cofield, hopefully you're watching, my homeboy on Facebook, kind of took me under his wing. This George Cofield guy is out here. I'm going to have him take a look at you. Hook up with him. And this guy is brutally honest, man. Never steered me wrong. And the first thing, I'm short. I'm a short, fat guy. I'm 5'8", 5'9", on my best day. 220 right now, 225, maybe 230. Back then, I was 215. I was, too muscular. But he took one look at me, and George was like, man, you're short. He's all right, but he's short, man. You're going to be real short. He kept saying that. You're going to be real short. And I was like, man, it's just another thing that somebody told me I can't. So I'm going to prove you wrong. Mm-hmm. So I made him, he's like, okay, I'll give you a shot, but I don't think you're going to make it. You know, and
He told
listen
he
to
said,
me.
"I'ma
But
give you a
listen,
shot."
listen to me. After the first training session, I had this man convinced.
Yeah.
After the first training session, this guy said this guy's gonna win All Army.
Wow.
After the first training session, but that's how I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was hungry.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I was hungry. And then after that, he kind of took me under his wing. He trained me for a couple months. When I went to All Army, I was prepared. I trained. I was ready, but still, I had never fought before. Like besides that like 30 seconds of a smoker that I did.
Yeah.
So then I went, and they were trying to send me home when I went there because I didn't have no experience. And you go to All Army, there's people with 50, 60, 100 fights, national champions. They're just going over there to get tuned up. They say, hey, man, you might get hurt. Like, you need to go get some experience, and we'll bring you back next year. And because they sent home a couple fighters, you know, because they had no experience. So when I said, no, man, there's no way you're sending me back. I'm not going back to the motor pool. I can't go back to the unit. Give me one shot. So they said, okay, we're going to put you in there to spar. If you can make it to the sparring session, we'll keep you. So they put me in there with DeAndre Abram.
Yeah, you still remember names, man.
I brought like it was yesterday.
It
was yesterday, man. Like
that's
it was
pretty cool because, like, as being a boxer, you know, people always say, you know, punch drunk, you can't remember things.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast, but I remember ass whoopings are very memorable.
Yeah.
You know? So they put me in there with DeAndre Abram, light heavyweight, 178 pounds, national champion, Olympic alternate, you know, all kinds of accolades at the time. And Julius Fogel he was 165, big guy, you know, tall after, you know, national champion at the time. So they put me in there with the two top dogs that I had, round robin. You know, round robin's a fresh guy, you know, every couple minutes. And I made it. I landed some shots and said, man, and again, I got the same thing. Yeah, man, not only are we going to keep this guy's going to win it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so
Okay. I like the way this story
I
going. This sounds like a really good movie, man. You know?
I went to that, you know, and then I went to All Army. And All Army, I had never got hit with 12-ounce gloves before. So they started patting me on the back a lot. You know, and I was like, oh, man, I got this, you know. I never got hit with 12-ounce gloves. So I come out there, bell rings for the first fight, and I run across it. The dude hits me right in the chin. Boom, and I fall. I went right to my knees. And I was like, oh, my God. And I got up, and I gathered myself. I mean, I blew him out after that. I mean, it wasn't even close. But it was funny that the first punch I ever got hit with dropped my ass. Because I never got hit before.
Yeah.
I ran right across. I never got dropped since.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah.
But in that fight, I ran across the ring, got dropped.
Hold on. So when you got dropped, did you say to yourself for a split second, like, man, I'm in the wrong place?
Fuck, no. It pissed me off. What it did was, this just made it a little bit harder. It pissed me off. You know, and I got up and, you know, I whooped him pretty good.
Yeah. You was like, you know what? You just pissed me off,
I did.
man. Yeah.
It did.
You about to catch these hands.
And then I won that fight, and I won 2 more fights. And then I actually won. I posted the Throwback Thursday yesterday, the outstanding boxer for the tournament. So I showed up with no fights, inexperienced. I went from, you know, being tried to be sent home to winning outstanding boxer at the tournament. You know, amongst, you know, national champions and everything.
So from there, you just box throughout the Army
I made
career.
the team. I made the team.
Yeah.
I boxed. I got my experience. But my whole goal is, okay, now I want to go pro. I didn't want to do amateur anymore. I understand, and you know, some people make the Army a career. They'll box until they're too old to box in the Army because you're basically a pro. You're getting paid E5, E6, whatever rank you are, money to box. And that's not a bad deal.
You got medical benefits.
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah. It's not a bad deal for you to actually do that.
But there's a tendency to hold stuff over your head, like, especially it's not peacetime right now. So you're almost guaranteed you're going to deploy. So there's a safety net being on the Army team to where you're not deployable. Now, you do something they don't like, or you start losing, or anything, they can cut you at any time, and then you're on the line, then you're free game.
Yeah.
You know? So they can hold. I didn't want that.
And this was, what year now? This was
2000. I made the team 2001. So about that.
I was in the Army at that time, too. In 2001, I was here in Fort Carson.
Yeah. I got here. I made the team January 19th was the finals when I made the team when they said, you're coming to WCAT. 2001. I went back to Fort Campbell, waited for my orders. I got here in August 2000. I had been here less than a month.
And 9/11.
9/11 happened. I was like, man.
I was in Saudi Arabia when that happened.
And that's why I said boxing safe. Like, not guarantee I would have gone there got killed, but there's a good possibility something could have happened to me, especially the unit that I was in at the time. I was in a special forces unit. They were very highly deployable, and that was the area of operation. So I would have been one of the first ones out there. You know, right after that, and it saved my life that way because I ended up not deploying. I finished my term on the boxing team, got out, and then turned professional in San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's a hell of a story. So, I mean, I love that story. From a guy, I mean, check this out. From a guy who had no boxing, no fight experience, goes out to a smoker, knocks the dude out, eyes are like on you. They tell you to go try out. And now you have to prove your worth, trial by fire. You do that. You make the team, won some awards. And then now you didn't deploy during the worst time of the war because unfortunately during that time frame I was active duty. Everybody was being deployed and soldiers was dying left and right. And you were safe here back for the United States.
I was saved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saved.
I mean, I can't get mad at that. I mean, I wish I could have boxed back then. So
second time, the boxing saved my life. Okay, we talked about a couple years back when I was in trouble. Right. I had a hard time. You know, I was really hooked on drugs. I was bad. I was a drug addict back then. And that's how I dealt with my problems. You know, you learn through counseling how to deal with things different way. But I was really struggling with that, trying to stay sober. Even when I was in the halfway house, I was really struggling with it. And I was like, I'm not going to make it. You know, I'm not going to make it. I was already retired. You know, I retired a couple times. I wasn't boxing anymore. I wasn't active. And I was searching for something.
Yeah.
And I said, man, right now when I got to be completely sober and I have nothing to do, why not give it another shot?
Yeah. And
my motivation was I was retired with, I think I had 7 wins. I was 7-3. And I would get embarrassed because I thought that was a better boxer than a 7-win record. Like I found myself lying, and I hate people being fake.
Yeah.
Especially about boxing records. When people would ask me what my record was, I would be like 8-2 because it sounded better than 7-3.
Yeah, just one number.
It sounded better. I switched one. I started switching one, and I was like, man, I can't do this. So I was like, I'm gonna take advantage. My whole goal is I want to get to 10 wins.
10 wins.
That's it. And I'll quit. So I started training, and you know, sober, working out, working hard, got my health back, and got back in the ring. And boxing, and that got me out of trouble.
So let's touch upon that a little bit deeper because I don't think people understand where you was at in life. You was hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. You was down and out in a halfway house. In other words, you got yourself in trouble.
Yeah. It was that or prison.
Yeah. And you was locked up for a little bit, and they put you in a halfway house, and now you're dealing with just being dependent on drugs.
Yeah.
And and a lot of people know that will lead you down a path to death or back in jail.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
So exactly. So your choice at that moment was to be like, you know what? I don't want to do that.
I don't want to. And the only thing I knew how to do was box. I mean, that's the only thing I know how to do. So I was like, man, let me give it another shot.
So you turned to boxing to get you more discipline, to get you back in shape,
and get me out of trouble.
Yeah. To get you off the drugs. Out of trouble and give you something to look forward to.
Yeah,
once again, boxing saved your life.
Saved my life. I would get up in the morning and run. I look forward to working out. I look forward to losing weight. I look forward to promoting my fight. I look forward to, just getting in the ring and being competitive. And first and foremost, I wanted to get that 10th win.
Yeah.
I really wanted that.
So you had a goal.
I had a goal.
That was a goal. Yeah, you had a goal. You had a plan. See, the thing is, people don't plan to fail, you just fail to plan.
Yeah, no,
you had a plan.
I had a plan.
You had a plan, the structure.
I said, I'm going to do it right now. Right now, where I have no choice but to be sober, I'm going to give it one more run. And that's what I did.
And you did it. You went out there and you got up to 10 wins.
I got to 10 wins, but the thing about that is I quit after that. And I had one more fight.
Yeah.
I didn't officially retire, but as soon as I got that 10th win, I didn't train as hard. I was already out of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. By that time, I got my 3rd win.
So basically, we need to keep you in trouble.
No.
I keep you hungry.
I changed my focus.
Yeah,
I changed my focus because it's really hard, as you know.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be an active fighter and a coach.
Yeah, pain in the ass.
It's really hard because you're very selfish. You think about yourself because it really is about you because you're the only one that gets in there. And being a coach, you got to take care of so many other people. And there was a point in time where I was training 4 active professional boxers while I was boxing myself.
Yeah.
So I was literally, I came real close one time to fighting on the same card and working corners. Like I was gonna fight first, go back, change, and then work my guys as corners. I came really close to that.
Yeah.
But it got to be a little too much, and that caught up to me.
You know, it's funny. I actually did that.
Yeah.
I've done that a couple of times. And yes, you're right. And you feel like you have to be selfish, but then sometimes you feel bad about it because you feel like you are being selfish, you know, and you feel like you should be giving your fighters your full undivided attention. But it's so hard, man, because it's only one of you.
Yeah, because like I said, I got that 10th win and I kind of checked out. I lost my last fight and I was like, you know what? I got the 10-4. No, you weren't there.
I was there for the last one.
I know you weren't. I was there for your fight, and then.
Oh yeah,
that's
you
weren't there.
Yeah,
fool.
no. No, the one I was there for was your last win because you actually
in Pueblo.
in Pueblo. You won that fight.
Yeah.
You came back.
I
You was
quit.
like you was beating up. You
No,
was like,
my discipline. I kind of I kind of started slipping a little bit, but I got past that 10 win.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And I'm just talking about when I left the halfway house and I wasn't under control my gym, like my work as far as working out. Like I'd skip runs or I got a life to live now, and workouts became a little more secondary than because I was enjoying life. I was free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I
I
hear
didn't
that.
have to check in no more, so it became a little bit different. I struggled to get that last win, and I got it. You know, happy about 10-3, and I said I'm gonna take one more. My plan actually, I was gonna keep going till see where it took me, but once I try to get back into the gym industry and working in the gym, it kind of took a back seat, and I had to make a decision now.
Yeah, it was tough. So basically, your last fight, and I remember that, and you actually put me before yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because I had a big fight against Donnie Laus, who was like on a 6-fight win streak, beating everybody, and we was fighting for the Sparta Combat Middleweight Championship, and you worked my corner that night.
That was a late night.
Yeah, you weighed in,
Yeah.
and then you came to work my corner. And then the next night you fought.
Yeah.
But you were already so beaten down because my fight was so late.
It was late.
Yeah,
It was really late.
Yeah, I didn't fight till like 12 o'clock.
And then, I'm in the corner. Hey, can you hold mitts for my guy? Can you hold mitts for my guy? I had like 4 guys I was holding mitts for, warming up in the background in the dressing room. When I got home to the hotel room, I was tired. When I woke up the next day, I was tired. Like when I was in the dressing room for that last fight, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was exhausted. I was like, man, I think this is going to be the last one. I was telling everybody.
Yeah.
I went out there. I didn't get knocked out. I didn't get beat up. But I was like, I just don't think I have it anymore, you know? And funny thing is, a couple months ago, I got a hair up my butt because I started sparring again, you know? And going back to the being selfish thing, now the program has grown. We got, a lot of members. We have a lot of people.
We got a lot of members. We got some amateurs, some
we
pros.
got
MMA,
fighters,
boxing.
we got everything.
Yeah.
So I got a hair up my butt about, I started sparring with these guys and I was looking good. I was, oh man, you still got it. You should do one more.
I mean, because the truth is, you actually survived with a couple rounds with me. Yeah. So like,
so I was
you
doing
was
all
feeling
right.
good about yourself.
So I was doing all right.
Yeah. So you was like, damn, I survived with Gilbert. Man, maybe I should fight again.
So opportunity came and put it on Facebook, and so it got serious. They were really trying to find me a fight.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, I started becoming selfish. Like but the last straw was I found myself saying, like, I remember I hurt my shoulder or something, and I was in pain, and there was a class coming up. It was a Saturday, it was 10 o'clock class, and this literally came out of my mouth. I was like, I'm sorry, guys, like I'm just not into it till my arm hurts. Like, I'm just, I basically told him I was going to do the bare minimum because I wasn't, because I'm tired and I'm beat down. And I was like, you know what, that's not right. You know what I mean? Because I'm being selfish. I wanted one more win. I didn't know why the hell I was doing it. I was just going to do it, but I was taken away from my fighters. I was taken away from the class, the people that come in here and want to get a good workout. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even fighting. I was just getting ready for a fight. I was getting ready to get ready.
Yeah, because at that point I was actually going to help train you.
Yeah.
We was going to switch roles.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I actually went into retirement this year.
Yeah.
And you almost came out of retirement.
Yeah, switching roles. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just. You made me jealous, man. I wanted to go out with a win too. I wanted to go out with a win too.
Yeah.
I almost had it, but man, I just couldn't. That 39th birthday came and went, and my body just shut down on me. Man.
Well, I tell you what, man, it's been a blessing to have met you. I mean, we have had our ups and downs. We have had our arguments, but we are definitely better together.
Yeah.
And we have given a lot to this gym and a lot to our members and a lot of 12 fighters. But now we got something big coming up.
Yeah.
Something that it almost brings tears to my eyes.
What's a game changer?
Yeah.
It's a game changer. It's something we've been working for years.
Something I remember when I came back from the Ultimate Fighter season 2025, and I talked about working with kids. And I didn't really follow through too much because I really didn't know how I wanted to do it. I just know I wanted to do it. And you said the same thing, but you actually came up with an idea.
Yeah.
And now we're making it happen. And now we're coming up with our new nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be giving out scholarships to students to come train with us for free.
Yeah.
And it's going to be called Hustle Victory Youth Outreach Program.
Yeah.
Tell me, how does that make you feel, brother?
Man, I'm just excited. I'm excited, man, to be able to just do what we've been talking about for so long, and something that we've been working for, and finally to be able to be afforded to be able to do it. You know,
and make it official too. Like we put in the paperwork, file correctly.
Yeah, it's done.
You know, anything that we get donations is going to be the track. It's going to be all public knowledge. Yeah. So like,
well, yeah, you know, I feel as far as the nonprofit thing, it's really big in the amateur boxing world, and sometimes
that's so big in MMA or jiu-jitsu.
But it's really big in the amateur boxing community, and sometimes, I mean, I don't want to sound like a hater or salty or anything like that, but there's some people out there that just really didn't earn it or kind of deserve to get that kind of money or support because they're not really on the level of what we're doing. Like the level that we're doing it, we're touching so many people. I mean, right now, and it's not even nonprofit yet.
Yeah.
You know, we're giving away a lot. We're sponsoring kids right now. We're taking time out of our day, and we're not really getting nothing out of it. We're just doing it for the love of the sport and the love of the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, 'cause they're the future. I mean, people say that as some, corny cliche, but the truth is, man, they are the future, man.
Well, that's the base. That's the whole base of the program. You know?
Because you and I both grew up in a situation that it wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we didn't have a silver spoon in our mouth, and I wish I had that mentor, that would have showed me, the right way to do things.
Yeah.
Especially somebody that has some life experience. Because both you and I we come from different backgrounds. As far I'm from the East Coast, you're from the West Coast, but we both messed up in our lives. Yeah. We both did some good things. We did some bad things. But now we're in a positive tip, and we want to share that knowledge with the youth.
Yeah, the kids. I mean, you just gotta. I get good feedback. From the parents. The behavior changes at home because a lot of the kids that come here, they're not because they're not exemplary. Students or they're behaving at home, or it's usually like, hey, I need some kind of outlet for my son because he's bad at home, or he's in school, he's messing up. I need some help with the kid. But the things that we try to teach here is attention to detail, eye contact when somebody's giving instruction. Just really listening. And following through with instructions. And being
consistent
and being able to deal with
the
structure.
hard work, dedication.
Yeah, being able to deal with structure.
Yeah. And like, and it's so cool because of the fact that we have a lot of students here. But what about the kids who can't afford?
Yeah.
And the kids who need that structure more than anything. But, they're in a situation that financially they can't afford it. So now we're going to have a program that we're going to be able to accept donations. And we already got some companies who's willing to work with us, whereas we can go and find those kids who need that help, who need that motivation. And we can go out there and put hands on them and teach them to become strong men, strong women, and grow them through the sport of boxing or maybe MMA and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's all about being a positive role model. We're not fighters anymore. We can't do it that way. We can inspire through coaching, and direction, and giving these kids some direction, because I sometimes, some of these kids are really bad, and some of these kids don't have a strong male influence in their life. I didn't when I was growing up. I grew up, a strong mother, a grandmother, a grandfather, but grandfathers are a little bit outdated, as far as trying to raise a young man, most of the times. But I had to find out, what I tell these kids is you're going to learn from me, from, what I'm telling you right now, or you're going to learn from jail, or you're going to learn in the Army. You're going to learn some way, and unfortunately...
I mean, the Army is not a bad thing.
I know.
I know. But usually, they're either going to learn from jail or from, being killed on the streets.
Well, if you...
if you go that route, sometimes that happens.
Well, let's talk about that. Jail and Army.
Yeah.
It's comparable.
Really?
It's comparable because I've been to both. You got the same kind of people in there.
Yeah,
you got jailhouse lawyers. You got barracks lawyers. You got people in there lying all the time, talking about what they was doing in the street. And
I hear you, man. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I have a different take in the Army because the Army, I definitely saved my life.
It did, but
yeah.
it begins to teach you structure, you know. And I was fortunate, like I said, I was kind of lost until I got on the boxing team, and then I had a bunch of uncles, you know, but they all happened to be black. So now I
go black.
You know what? But you know, that was my influence when I was young. So now, you know, I very rarely do people guess that I'm Mexican or get it right the first time. I usually get Puerto Rican or something else because my influences were so. I had a variety. You know, I grew up, you know, in the Army, black and Puerto Rican. This is a lot.
Oh, you know what? Speaking about kids, man, and I'm sorry to switch the subject here, but I forgot to mention this. You know, you had a kid.
Yeah.
Going through everything you went through. You met a lady that helped change your life, Danny.
Yeah.
And y'all two fell in love, and everything happened with that. And then you had a kid, and now that kid, what is making so cool, that kid is being raised in this gym. You're here almost every day, walking around, just looking at people, giving everybody, you know, the fist and dap.
It's awesome, you know, to be able to two things: to have them grow up in the gym, and to be able to build something to pass on to them.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's the biggest inspiration. You know, that's what gets me up in the morning.
Because you're going to pass on the program of Hustle Hard Boxing.
Everything.
That's going to be his. You know, the knowledge, the experience, and that business side of it is going to be his. And that's beautiful, man.
And he's in here. You know, he's in here every day.
Pass on legacy.
Working on it, man. He's a beautiful little boy, man. And he's brought a lot of joy not only to me but to the gym. Every day.
He's like the team mascot. I'm not saying he's like a dog or something like that, but like everybody pick him up. Yeah. And you also have another son, Noah, who also used to box. You know, he's been working hard.
Yeah, Noah. You know, you can't force boxing on your kids, and boxing isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Noah happens to be very talented at boxing, but it's just not. I'm not going to push him into it.
Yeah.
He probably will come back.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday, you know, it's everybody's dream. Yeah. Everybody's, you know,
he got skills.
Dude can fight.
Yeah,
Dude can fight. Yeah. But he'd rather right now, boxing, especially at that age, will take away a lot from being an adult.
Yeah.
You know, so right now he's got a job.
He got a job.
He graduated high school. He got a job. He's got a girl. He's got a car. He's got responsibilities. He learned how to be a grown up.
Yeah.
Once he gets that being a grown up things down, I'm sure he'll come back.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah. I mean, I be hoping one day my son will come in here and work on some jiu-jitsu.
But it's not for everybody.
Yeah. He loves football, man.
Football.
He comes to the gym and he lifts and he works hard and he's super talented. He's a great athlete. But when it comes to like combat sports, he's like, I ain't got time for it.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. He wants to go play football, but you know, I love him anyways. You love your son. Yeah, or your sons. Okay, man. So, I mean, we're gonna wrap it up. I mean, to me, this is one of the more passionate episodes I've done. Because of our relationship and how far back. I mean, the truth is, you helped me be successful. All these Ultimate Fighters and these championships that I've done, you've been in my corner. Yeah. You and my boy Dave.
Yeah.
And so my striking and my boxing has improved dramatically, you know, since I met you. Because before I met you, I thought I knew how to box. Yeah. You know, but you know what? Hold on. Actually, let's take it back. My first boxing coach was also your boxing coach, Coach Lemon. You remember?
Lemon, yeah. Lemon. Rest in peace. He passed away a couple years back.
Yeah.
But he's a different kind of style. Man. A lot of people know him. You know, it does
he
a lot
was mean.
Of he was mean.
He was mean.
He was mean. But you know what? When he was mean. When he was alive, I hated him.
Yeah.
I hated his guts. I hated him like I couldn't stand him. But now that he's gone, I understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, I understand what he was doing. He was trying to raise a man when I was still messing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Basically what he was trying to do.
Yeah, well, he basically told me I suck.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, probably because I was coming from MMA, and he definitely didn't understand that. But everything I did was wrong. So, but it was good because I still use some of the techniques he talks about because I remember he really helped my jab because I used to jab, but I never fully extended. I never locked out the arm, and I had to do jabs all day long.
Stick your hand through that. That's where I get you know, and talking about trainers, you pick up when you finally pick up, and I'm sure you can chime in on this, but when you're a trainer, ultimately you learn from different trainers that you had when you were a fighter.
Yeah.
So you take a little bit of everything, and you still do some studying. You know what I mean? So
that's what makes it. I mean. If you are a trainer and you think you know it all,
no, you got to study.
You're done.
You got to study.
Yeah, you got to study. Me and you always go on the internet and steal other people's stuff.
Yeah.
We're famous.
Because they stole it from somebody too.
It's true. Yeah, but I tell you what, if you got some techniques or some drills, some workouts online, I may steal it from you.
I will.
Yeah,
you
and
might,
I got
you might
no
see it.
problem.
You're gonna see it in our videos.
Yeah, yeah. We just came up with this new technique of the week, guys.
But the thing is, I'll do it like you, but I'll do it better.
Yeah. Oh,
And it's gonna mess you up. So I'll take yours and make it better.
Damn. There it is. He put it down. All right, guys, man. Thank you for watching another episode of Hard Work, Bad Decisions. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's talk about it. I want to thank my boy Carlos Ibarra, Mr. Hustle, for talking, man. If you want to say a couple things.
Man. Well, thanks for having me. It was, I haven't really talked about my story a lot. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know. I'm sure a lot of people knew I was a mess up, but didn't really know the situation and how it helped me. But like I said, man, boxing saved my life over and over. And now I just want to pass out the knowledge and help other people through boxing.
Yeah, come on through to Victor and Main Hustle Hard Boxing. I'm gonna put the address. Once again, guys, leave a comment, like the video, share it, and just keep supporting us. We thank you. You have a good weekend.
Thanks. All right, that was